Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and joining us in this beautiful, beautiful sunny day here in Texas. I hope that you're all okay and that your family and colleagues and all of your friends are doing well. We get together today in unprecedented times. So much has been happening across our country. Even today, we have news of something totally out of the blue in Minnesota taking place because of things that we have absolutely no control for over here. But, you know, it is a terrible tragedy that they're facing there as well. So our thoughts go to them with our prayers that everything can be resolved and nobody gets hurt. We are creating this particular webinar to accommodate the challenges that we're all facing in this unprecedented time. Who would have thought that the whole world could be shut down? Who would have thought that, you know, we couldn't talk to our families face to face? Who would have thought that we could not give a hug? You know, we're a hugging culture, and we're really missing, you know, those hugs and even those kisses that we get from our families and friends. It's been a challenge for our family, for our children, for our friends, and to many businesses, because we're facing now the second wave and consequences of what's going on. And that's one of the reasons why we're here. We're here because we have been able to have two unbelievable Latinas join us to give us some insights, some advice, and some steps to take to go the road work to moving forward. Right now, many of us are getting the instructions on how to get back to work safely, how to get back to work in a way that we don't endanger ourselves and endanger the families. I don't think that we've ever had anything like this and what we're facing today, that, you know, not only you put in danger your family, you put in danger anybody around you if you're not careful enough. So please stay cognizant of all the preventions that exist out there. Don't be afraid to overdo it. Better overdo it than not doing it enough. This program is also part of the commitment that Latina Style has to Latina entrepreneurs. Since 1998, you know, we launched the magazine in 1993. By 1998, we knew that Latina entrepreneurs were a significant segment of our audience. So in 1998, we launched a pilot program to see if we could help Latina entrepreneurs succeed in their businesses. To be honest with you, it was a big challenge because nobody believed that Latinas were part of the, you know, Latina business owners were really a significant segment of the business community. And it was not till the year 2000 that the census numbers came out, and wow, we discovered that Latina entrepreneurs are the fastest growing segment of the small business community. Of course, today, you know, if you follow anything in the business community or in the Hispanic community, you know that there is nothing out there that is not Latina. Even all the general market organizations, you know, are recognizing that Latinas are one of the key elements to drive the organizations to success. So since we cannot touch each other, since we cannot do face-to-face, we decided to do at least give it a try to be able to do something virtually like we're doing today. We are very blessed to have had the support of many Latinas across the nation and many business owners across the nation, and actually women organizations, ethnic organizations, civic organizations have partnered with us in this long journey that began in 1998. But for us, for the past 26 years, we know how resilient Latinas are, how resilient small businesses are, but we're all facing tremendous challenges. So we have two Latinas today with us that are going to help us, guide us through this quagmire that we're going through. First, I want to tell you a little bit about Rosa Santana, who's the Chief Officer of the Santana Group. And then I'm going to tell you something about Luisa Casso, who's the corporate manager for Toyota North America. Rosa Santana is one of our leading Latinas in the country. She's an entrepreneur. She's a civic leader. She is somebody that has been at the forefront of everything Latina since the very beginning that she began her career. Rosa launched her first business, actually, a staffing business, many years ago. I think it's been over 20 years that Rosa, launched her first company, who was a staffing business. We are very blessed that Rosa actually shows all the qualities of the Latina entrepreneur. They're agile, they're creative, and like Rosa usually says, she's able to pivot at any time. So she became, her staffing business that she launched herself, became one of the primary sources of staffing for a number of companies that work with Toyota that were already tier 1 suppliers. And when Toyota saw how successful she was at the work that she was doing within their plant, actually, they asked her to please, work with them directly. So that was the genesis to start Forma Automotive. And Forma Automotive provides fully assembly beds for the Tacoma truck here in San Antonio, Texas, and in Guanajuato, Mexico. So Rosa has been an entrepreneur for many years. Since 2004, when she launched her staffing company. Now it's 2020, and she's got multiple companies that she has created. Since Forma Automotive was created, it's been selected as the company of the year for the SMSDC Supplier of the Year for 2017 and 2019. And also she was named an MSDC Corporate Plus member. Rosa herself was an Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year in 2019. So Rosa is not unlike many Latina entrepreneurs because she exhibits the qualities that we see in so many of them, which is the work and the commitment that they have to their business, the commitment that also they have to their family, and the commitment that they have to their community. So it goes without saying that how delighted we have to have her here with us. Rosa sits on multiple boards, including the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Latino Business Action, the Latina Business Action Network, and the Women Business Council in Southwest as a board member. Please give a long, faraway round of applause to Rosa Santana, our first panelist of the day. So Rosa, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and about your journey?
Certainly. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for inviting me to be a panelist here today. And I have the pleasure of sharing in this panel with Luisa Casso from Toyota. I will tell you all, my name is Rosa Santana again, and I'm the president and CEO of various companies. My journey as an entrepreneur began after I was downsized from the corporate world after 20 years in the human capital business. Over the next 16 years, I have built, alongside with my daughters, a group of companies all in the outsourcing space. We started in 2002 with Integrated Human Capital and Workforce de Mexico. Later, we started Diversa, which is a managed services company, and then Oveana, which is a business process outsourcing company, currently operating contact centers. And after, as Robert mentioned, after a long journey and a long relationship with many of Toyota's tier 1 suppliers in San Antonio, Texas, we were invited by Toyota to participate as a tier 1 supplier, and we formed Forma Automotive. And we also formed recently Forma Automotive de Mexico. And those two companies assemble truck beds for Toyota. As our businesses grew, we kind of identified ourselves as a Santana group. And all of our companies, as you can see, are centered around people. And we proudly employ a few thousand people between the United States and in Mexico. I consider myself a relationship builder, a master relationship builder at that, and a connector. And a lot of the growth of my businesses is directly attributable to the relationships that I built over the 4 decades that span my career in the human capital business. And for me, you know, as Robert said, I've had the privilege, and I'm very humbled to have all of the accolades and the awards that have been presented to me. But I can tell you that for me, my most impactful accomplishment was about 6 years ago when we were named the first Hispanic woman-owned direct tier 1 supplier to Toyota. When I was provided the opportunity to enter into the manufacturing business space with the second largest automotive company in the world and the most respected automotive company in the world. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you so much for that insight, Rosa. And if I can be indulged, let me show you something. These are the daughters that Rosa was talking about. You will be able to read more about it later. But as you can see, whenever a Latina is involved in a business, it truly is a family business. It is something that brings together everybody in the family. And for us at Latina Style, it's particularly encouraging that your daughters are the ones that are, you know, coming out, you know, with you. I'm sure that the rest of the family is there as well. However, you know, we see the driving force of the daughters. And let me introduce you now to our next panelist, who is another amazing, you know, Latina. And I apologize if I overuse that word, but, you know, I have been so incredibly impressed during the 26 years of our company for the work that I see Latinas accomplish. And I always tell people Latinas can do it all. And to join us right now, please give a great round of applause to Ms. Luisa Casso. Luisa Casso, over 20 years of public affairs experience in private, public, and nonprofit arenas. Luisa is the manager, the corporate communications manager for Toyota North America. She leads a dynamic group of people that are responsible for internal and external communications for Toyota in Texas. In addition, she oversees the community, media, and the visitor center for Toyota. Luisa is a dedicated public servant as well. And in her work here in San Antonio, I'm sorry, I'm not in San Antonio, but I kind of, you know, took it over. But here in San Antonio, she has dedicated herself to promote leadership. As a member of the San Antonio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, she assisted in the formation of a successful Latina Leadership Institute that was created to promote Latinas to become civically engaged in the political process. Luisa is also serving on a number of different boards. She is one of the leading forces in leading the community in San Antonio. At the same time, you know, they're mentoring other Latinas that work at Toyota, encouraging other Latinas to work at Toyota. And we are very, very delighted and grateful, Luisa, that you're here with us today. I know that it's a very, very difficult time, both for you and for Rosa, but I think that both of you are demonstrating the kind of work and the kind of quality that we expect to see from people that are committed to their mission. And you're bringing in so many other of us, you know, to think about how we can really come back to work. You know, it's been said many, many, many times that the best thing that you can give somebody is a job, because the sense of pride the sense of well-being that you provide for the community, it's something that is unequal out there. But for now, we haven't not been able, for a lot of us, been able to provide to our families while we're sequestered or while we're, at home. So the work that you do in bringing people back to work, making people back to be productive, is something that we're all, very, very grateful for. At the same time, we want to do it right. And that's why we have you both here. So please give a great round of applause as well to Miss Luisa Casso. Luisa, tell us about your journey and what's happening at Toyota now that you guys are back.
Well, it's a very exciting time at Toyota Texas and across our plants throughout the country. And Robert, thank you so much for inviting me to be here with Rosa. She is one of my dearest colleagues and very dear friends, my comadre, who I got to see not too long ago. And it was so hard for us not to hug. I think you said it very adeptly. I mean, it's in our culture, it's in our DNA. And so when we see each other, we want to touch and we want to hug each other and embrace each other. And that's what, when we talk about embracing, is something that for me, that has certainly drawn me to this community, originally from New Mexico. And I see that there have been a couple comments from New Mexico that have come in, so hello. And it's wonderful to know that you're out there. I miss New Mexico very much. But here in San Antonio, it's a fantastic community. And me personally, I've been in the corporate world for about 8 years now. And as a personal mantra, that kindness is a simple act of respect. And so when we look at that, and I look at Toyota and how I personally fit into this company, whose really main pillar is respect for people, and how that translates into COVID-19 response is really, I'm excited to talk about that because I've seen it and I've lived it. I've been back here at work for a little over a month. I feel safe. The company has done incredible work to keep us all safe here in the manufacturing space. So we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But I just wanted to say thank you very much for having me here with you all today.
Thank you so much, Luisa. Let's pivot again to, using Rosa's word, let's pivot again to the real crux of what's the big difficulty right now for all of us that are coming back to work. That so many steps have to be taken to be able to be successful to bring our staff back to work safely and stay safe ourselves. So if I may ask a question of Rosa to get us started. Rosa, how has the current situation affected your business?
Here we go. I'm so sorry. I was muted. In so many ways, Robert, of course, and with the different businesses, it's different. I'm going to speak specifically about Forma. And the way it's affected us is we were pretty much shut down for a number of weeks. I will tell you that that from a financial standpoint was, devastating, but fortunately for us, we were able to keep our people employed and continue to pay them, right? We made them whole. So we're very, very proud of that. So of course, as you can imagine, the health and safety of our employees is first and foremost the most important thing for all of us. Toyota, us, any of the other on-site partners. And so, it doesn't end when they leave their work, right? All of our team members are family to us. And so when they leave their work and go home, we want to make sure that they, get home safe. So how do we do that? We provide a safe environment, right? So our environment absolutely has changed. We've made major adjustments and big changes to our workspaces. Although we're in a manufacturing environment and there are some things that we can't change, there are many things that we did change and that we had to change in order to ensure that our people are not only working safely, but that they feel safe and they feel comfortable coming back to work, right? So a lot of this began with a frequent communication that Toyota ensued, right? So I will tell you that for the amount of years that I've been around Toyota and worked with Toyota, the first and foremost number one thing that I think about is how well they communicate. And so sometimes to where they communicate so much that you think, wow, there's information coming from everywhere. But it is so useful and it is amazing that they include us, you know, their suppliers as their partners and allow us to understand and know all of the things that they're doing, right? So as they began to put their plans together to, you know, bring back all of their team members, they worked with us and communicated well with us. We all actually participated in putting these plans together, and we all worked very, very closely in ensuring that, you know, if I didn't have something that another supplier was doing or that Toyota might be doing, they made it available for me, and we did the same thing. So we started from, you know, sanitizing, cleaning and sanitizing the facilities before we came back. I mean, a thorough cleaning and sanitizing of all of that, right? We adopted Toyota's plan to do temperature checks. So every day when our people come to work, we check temperatures. And we want to make sure that if they don't feel well, that they can stay home and not be concerned about whether they're going to lose their job or not, right? And if they come and you know, and there's an issue with or there's a situation where their temperature might be higher than it should be, then we address that separately, and then we decide if, you know, whether the people stay or whether they go home to feel better if they don't feel well. So we laid down team member positioning marks on the floor to ensure that we have that safe distancing. So those are just some of the examples, you know, of what we did. Again, you know, what we do a lot of is communicate with all of the other on-site partners so that we can share ideas, participate, you know, in best practices, and truly act like one body, right? Team Toyota is one Toyota, and we're part of that one Toyota as we bring those people back to work. So I, like Luisa, feel very, very safe when I go to the plant because we've done so much to ensure that our people are safe and that they get to go home to, you know, safely to their families. I can't hear you, Robert.
I'm back. I'm sorry. I had
go.
muted myself. Thank you so much, Rosa, for all that insight. And I know that it's been very, very hard on your employees, like it's been very, very hard on ours as well. But thank you so much for all that incredible leadership. Luisa, you know, pivoting to you as well. Actually talking about, you know, Rosa's company and many others are embedded within your plant. So in a way, everything falls under your supervision. And I guess that you are one of the people that are actually in charge to make sure that everything is safe at the plant. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, certainly. And I'm one of many who work with the on-site suppliers and have the privilege to do so. And so when it comes to our on-site suppliers, they are really an extension of our production system. We have 22 on-site suppliers that are housed here on our campus at Toyota, Texas. 5 of them, one is Forma Automotive that Santana, Rosa Santana runs, is under our roof. They are all located under our roof. Their employees come to work every day here under our 2.2 million square feet in production. So when we were faced with bringing everybody back to work, and making sure that all of our employees felt that we had covered all of our bases when it came to health and safety. We wanted to make sure that they also understood that we worked very closely with our extended family, and that's the on-site suppliers, to make sure that they had the capacity and they had access to the supplies in order to put in the same type of safety measures that we were putting in here in the manufacturing plant.
Luisa, and maybe we can pull a slide that we have to show you. You guys actually created a manual, an extensive manual on how to behave and how everybody is supposed to behave actually in the plant. And this is many pages, as you can see. This manual, first of all, we want to thank you by letting our audience to be able to download the manual from our site, from Latinas, www.latinastyle.com. You will be able to do that beginning Monday. But man, I'm seeing that we cannot hang out at the coffee, at the coffee maker or at the cooler.
The water cooler looks a little different these days, yes.
Yeah. And so where is all that gossip going to be, exchanged? But it took some time to do this, and I want to thank you, and that shows one of the commitments that Toyota has for the community, that you let us have this, because this will be very helpful to all our small business owners. And like I said, we will have it available on our site. Rosa, going back to you for a second, how difficult was to send the people home and tell them, okay, we're going to be virtual now? Did they even understand what you were trying to do?
So, am I unmuted? I think I am, right? So, different teams were doing different things, right? So our leadership team at Forma, as an example, they had a lot of work that they could do from home. It was very, very difficult to have the conversations with our team members, all the team members, about having to send them home, right? And of course, everybody's faces, you can just imagine how people felt when you're telling them you're gonna go home. I think they felt a little bit better when we said you're gonna continue to get paid. But, we all were fearful. I wish that I could say, and I wish that our leadership team could do a better job maybe in communicating the bad news, because they were not good news, right? But we did what we had to do. We did what we could do in communicating, right? We had to tell the truth. As Toyota always says, bad news first, right? So there we were in front of our people, telling them that you know what's going on in the world. Because of that, we want to be safe. We want you to be safe, and we want you to be home. And so they went home. Our other teams, our administrative and leadership teams, had a lot of work to do, because as you can imagine, we continue to plan, right? I mean, business goes on, and in the same way, of course not. It's never going to be the same way. We're never going to go back to that normal we used to have. But the teams had new programs to begin working on, or to continue to work on. A lot of planning for those new programs, and for what we thought would be, our new normal, right? In my call center business, as an example, that was a major shift for us, because we had everybody housed in one building, and very quickly we got the green light from our client to home base our people. So the planning that went behind that was incredible, and it had to be very quick. So we had to be agile, we had to move fast, and provide equipment and the proper manuals and all of that for our people, so that they knew how to perform from home. And believe it or not, our first month that our people worked from home, we had amazing results. So, you know, I think pivoting and understanding, you do what you've got to do under the circumstances, right? You have to do what you have to do. No different, you know, than when I lost my job. I knew I had to figure out how to feed my family. I was a single mother of 2 daughters at that point. So guess what? I needed to start a business at that point. This time, it was more about pivoting and figuring out what do we do to keep our business moving and keep our business growing. So those are some of the examples of what we did.
Thank you, Rosa. And Luisa, you know, I'm thinking about your responsibilities at the plant and how, you know, it's a human tendency actually, that after a little bit we become accustomed to it and we begin to let our guard down. How are you going to be able to keep the people motivated enough and pay attention to what they're supposed to be doing with the Toyota team and with all the suppliers that you have on the plant?
I think that's a great question. You know, we have 3,200 employees here on the campus and an additional 4,000 that are with the supplier. So 7,000 people, that's 7,000 families that really rely on all of us being safe. And it's with that awareness that we come into our manufacturing facilities and know that wearing the face mask, wearing the face shield, hand sanitizing, all of these practices that we've put in place, while they are difficult for this period of time, we know that it's important to not just keep ourselves healthy, but to keep our families at home healthy. And that's what really is going to drive us to continue and keep up the momentum.
So Luisa, you think then that the new normal is going to stick?
You know, I think that as long as we follow the appropriate direction, hopefully it won't last longer than it needs to. But for the time being, when we're making Toyota Tundras and Tacomas, this is what we're going to live with.
You know, one of the things that we've had, I think we had somebody actually register for this webinar from Japan. So wow. That's your team over there in Japan. Are they doing things differently over there?
Well, you know, when we first went out on our production stall, there was over 400 people who started to work on our safe at work plan, which is the one that you had up a few minutes ago. And we were receiving information and seeking information from all of the experts that were at hand, but also learning from our plants outside of North America. And so we know that with all of that learning, that we have the consistency, and this disease does not choose borders. This virus does not choose borders. And so we need to adhere to these things, and they're not rocket science, right? Washing your hands, social distancing, extra sanitization. So we very much are in lockstep with our partners and learning from each other as well.
Thank you, Rosa. You know, you have work in Mexico. How different and how difficult it is to put these norms in place over there?
Well, that's a great question. I will tell you that as Luisa mentioned, right, across the world, we're doing the same types of things because we are a Toyota partner, and as Toyota does, we do. But the laws in Mexico, interestingly, you know, after COVID, or during COVID, I should say, so much happened in Mexico. We obviously shut down the plant there as well and sent all of our people home. But the regulations in Mexico, the health department of the whole Republic of Mexico came up with some rules and very, very detailed rules that every single organization had to follow to ensure that we were doing the right things before we opened. So they were no different from a lot of what's included in the manual that Luisa has so graciously provided, and Toyota has agreed to allow everybody to use, but very, very specific to Mexico and very, very specific to how they wanted, you know, things done. And so obviously before we went back to work, all of the on-site partners in the Querétaro, in the Guanajuato facility did the same thing, right? So we all had to go, and we actually had to be certified as having done all of those things before we could actually go back to work. So we had a government official that came and certified us and signed off and said, yes, they meet the criteria to return to work. So very, very similar again, but quite different, just because the Department of Health in Mexico got extremely involved and actually, you know, expected that we were going to go through all of these certifications, you know, and that they would come and inspect us and give us a green light before we could start up again.
Thank you, Rosa. Luisa, have the first trucks rolled out the plant since you guys got back to work?
Most certainly. Last week, we did a gradual ramp up and brought our team members back to begin production. And last week, as our president of our plant has said, last week wasn't necessarily about building trucks, it was about building trust and making sure that our team members were safe and felt comfortable in their new environment. And as with the changes that had been put in place. So last week, we only produced about 200 vehicles, and we're used to doing 1,000 a day. But now we're back and we're ramped up and we're in production, and we're looking at an opportunity to be bringing our second shift back in mid-June. So we have a slow, gradual ramp up. We want to make sure that everything is smooth and that everyone feels safe.
So, you know, it's that is very encouraging. The news that we keep hearing, though, is that this will be the absolute best time to buy a truck in this country. I hope that you guys are ready, and even your finance people will be really ready for the demand.
We are all ready for sure.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I want to thank both of you, specifically Rosa and Luisa, for Toyota's, and this is not related to the production of the cars, but for Toyota's commitment to keep working with the organizations that they have supported through the years, while they were not able to really fulfill all kinds of conferences that you guys were sponsoring, and being able to do things for the community that you were committed to. A number of people have, you know, a number of organizations have suffered tremendously, not only businesses, but organizations that serve our community. So thank you so much for that. Rosa, you think that your team, and this is a question for you and then for Luisa as well, you think that they come back better prepared now that they've gone through this to take their jobs back on?
Well, when you say better prepared, obviously they weren't producing, right? They weren't really working in the environment that we work in all of the time. So I can tell you that mentally, they were ready to come back. The majority of our people were ready to come back. And what I have seen is humility. I have seen a lot of ganas, you know. I have seen people that are very grateful that, number one, they have a job, considering the unemployment in this country today, where over 40 million unemployment claims have been filed, which is just a travesty, right? But considering the unemployment, considering the fact that they were paid for the entire time that they were out, and that they still have a job that they already are familiar with and they know. I know that they are changed in that way, right? And we're happy to have them back. Again, as Luisa said, You know, building trust is the job that we have to do at the beginning. People have to trust us and entrust, you know, themselves in us, know and understand that we're doing the best that we can to provide them the best place to work. So are they changed? Probably. Am I changed? Absolutely.
Luisa?
I think it comes to pivoting. There's no other there's no better company than Toyota that is ready to pivot and is flexible. We are a company of with ingenuity and innovation. When it comes to our team members, I would agree that as Rosa aptly said, the sense was that people were ready to come back. Yes, a little timid, a little tentative about what the new work area was going to be like and what the circumstances were going to be, but certainly ready to be back. You know, many of these people have worked together for decades, so I think people were ready to see someone other than their immediate family, and even though they couldn't hug each other and embrace, they were happy to see their coworkers.
You know, Rosa, I mean, Luisa, you've been gracious enough to provide us with a couple of videos that you have produced at Toyota. Would you like to give us an intro to the videos that we're going to be playing?
Yes, thank you so much. And we wanted to be able to capture the new normal, as we say now, the new normal of what manufacturing was going to look like. But we wanted to capture that through the eyes of a team member. And so the team member that you're about to see is one of our over 300 Latinas that are here working in manufacturing, Giovanna.
Wow.
And I think she's here, she's tuned in. So we have to say hello to Giovanna, and we'll see her, as we call her, Gio for short, and we'd love to show her here. And then the one following that is, of course, Rosa Santana, to talk about the experience, what her team members felt as they returned to work.
So team, can we include the videos in, please?
I love San Antonio because, I mean, it's got character. This is a big city with a small town feel, and you can really feel the respect that Toyota has in the community.
Okay, I see people with masks. Everybody's ready to go.
Coming into work, I think I had quite a bit of time, what was it, almost a month and a half to fester, to actually have and feel that anxiety, to process. And now that I'm at work, and I've seen what it is outside of Toyota, it really puts me at ease, and it makes me feel like this is a safe place to come. I think my anxiety has dipped quite a bit, knowing that we have those precautions and those safety measures put in place. The initiative that this company has taken to make sure that we're safe at work is amazing. I'm really proud. We're going to persevere, and we're going to make it through.
I love that. It really captures the heart of the team members here at Toyota, and it is really fantastic. So now I think we're going to see the next one from Rosa.
I think what has surprised me is how well we have all come together, and how even without seeing each other, how close we've become. People are grateful, people are happy. It's great that we've come back to work and that they're excited to be here. And I'll tell you, so I was at our training center to greet our people that are coming back, and not one person didn't say thank you. Which of course, you know, got me a little bit emotional, so very grateful people, very grateful.
Hi, Rosa. You brought tears to my eyes. And it's you know, and it's one of the things that we're going to be exploring in future webinars that we're going to have that we're going to be producing is the issue that so much, for small businesses to start with, you live under so much pressure on a normal day. And this time around, the pressure has been like unbelievable. And to know that so many people's livelihood are in your hands and you have to somehow, resolve these situations. Thank you, both of you, for the incredible insight and for everything that you do to support your families, your community, and everything that you do, especially, in encouraging the people that come back to work on how to be able to continue ahead. Now we have, I think, some questions that have come in from the audience. And I would like to, by the way, the audience is coming from all over the world, and it'll be interesting. But a lot of the people from New York seem that they're very, very fond of you guys, because here I have a question from Marcela from New York that is questioning, or is asking what is the biggest challenge and opportunities for corporations post-COVID-19. So you want to get us started, Luisa?
Yes, can you hear me? I think I'm on. Okay, very good. And I appreciate that because I think what's important for us is that, when we look at corporations and we look at major challenges in society, that we don't do it alone. We do it with partners. We do it in partnership with the government. We do it in partnership with nonprofits. And so I think from this point, some of the challenges will be is how are we going to pivot? How are we going to shift some of those focuses and make sure that we are getting the resources in the right place? I think that's one of the challenges. We don't know how long this new normal is going to last, but we know that to follow these policies and procedures. And so for those companies and even the small companies that don't have access to the type of supplies that they need to open safely, how do we help them get the supplies that they need? City of San Antonio and Bexar County here just recently did a supply distribution for small businesses, and those were really micro businesses with less than 25 employees. But in that yesterday, just with 1 week's registration, they gave out 6,500 supplies, packages of supplies, and it was basic things that people it's very hard to get. Hand sanitizer, masks, temperature, no touch temperature thermometer. So it's those grassroots efforts where corporations can really come in and help those that are in need.
Thank you so much, Luisa. We have an academic question coming to both of you. How can the community colleges support industry in this crisis? In other words, how can community colleges work with the corporations and the companies in getting, the country back on track? Who wants to take that one?
So I'll start with that, if you'd like.
Please.
Great. So I think one of the ways that educational institutions like the community colleges can work with organizations, right, large corporations, small corporations, is by helping us, I guess, look at and anticipate what the jobs of the future are going to be, right? COVID has changed us in so many ways, and I have to believe that the future of employment is going to be very different. And so I can tell you from the educational institutions in the city of San Antonio, where I live and love, these organizations are very, very well entrenched in everything that's going on with industry, the communities, And so the partnerships and the collaboration that needs to happen from an industry and educational institution standpoint happens here. So if this is a question that comes from a different city besides San Antonio, I would say look into what our city is doing and our community colleges are doing, our universities are doing. And if the question is here local, you guys are doing an amazing job already. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, we have from Jacksonville, Florida. Angelica from Johnson & Johnson wants asked you, how do you find the balance between family, personal, and professional demands when you're working from home? Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I'll start, and then I'll toss it to Rosa. You know, I think that is one of the biggest challenges we're all facing. From one day to the next, we were all then taking on our professional careers, and many were dealing with now becoming homeschool teachers. At the same time, dealing with the pressures of just fear of not knowing. And so I know for myself that, you know, working from home, I end up working longer hours. I get up earlier. I'm on 10 calls a day, and I forget to eat. So, you know, it's those kind of things of needing to, it's a challenge. But I know for me personally, being able to be outdoors where I could walk on the river and take in some fresh air. Many times you know, still wearing a mask, so that focus. I think that balance is really a challenge that we're all facing, and we have to learn from each other.
Rosa?
Yes, so, you know, balancing is difficult, as you all know, right? And the older we get, the more difficult it becomes. But frankly, you know, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I see my daughters, who I spoke about earlier, juggling work and the kids and the homeschooling now and all of that. And number one, they're doing an incredible job, and kudos to them and to all of the parents that are homeschooling their children. But I will tell you that it is much more difficult to work from home. I think people think working from home is wonderful, and you can snack all day, you can do laundry, you can do this, you can do that. Oh yeah, you can do all of that. But guess what? You have to get up at 5 o'clock, or you have to start work at 5 o'clock in the morning, and probably not end before 10 o'clock at night. At least that's what my days have become. I happen to already have a home office, but I miss being at my office, because I really do. I leave my bed, I get ready, and I walk into my office here in a room in my home. And there's days when I just don't even get up to drink water or to have anything to eat. So we have to be intentional about ensuring that, hey, at 12 o'clock noon, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go to lunch. And you know what happens is that we get so engulfed and involved in all of these webinars and all of these meetings, and people tend to forget what, you know, time zone we're in. And so, I mean, there's days when I wake up and I look at my calendar and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to get this done? And also eat and have time to take a break to go get some fresh air. You just have to be intentional. You have to schedule it. So put it in your calendar. Take a 15-minute break, take a 30-minute break, walk outside again, get some fresh air. So all of that, I think, if we intend to do it and if we plan it, you know, one of my favorite mottos is plan your work and work your plan. If you put it on your calendar, I'm going to do this, that's my plan. And that's what I'm going to work towards.
Yeah, that is so true, Rosa. You know what they say, that if you don't write it down, it's never going to happen.
That's my feeling, honestly.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you both went into this, into home work. Do you, by any chance, I know that this is a very serious subject, but do you have a couple of funny stories that you can tell of what's been happening in your household since you've been working there? Come on, something funny must have happened. We've seen those videos on YouTube
Sure.
of people that
I'll
go
tell you.
crazy with homeschooling.
I'll start with that. You know, I can't tell you how many times I started in the morning before I even took a shower, and I was in my pajamas and went and found myself at 6 o'clock at night looking exactly the same way. So my hair wasn't done, no makeup, and then I participate in Zoom meetings or whatever, but I'd never turn on the camera, right? Because I was afraid people would see me in my pajamas. So that's one story.
Yeah,
How
and
about you, Luisa?
I think the same thing, you know, things would start early in the morning and you would just work the late night. And, but my goal every morning was, before I sat down at my desk in my home office, I needed to change my clothes, brush my teeth. And if I got those two things done, I was going to start the day out great. So yeah, I shared the same thing. We very, very long days, but I agree. Being intentional about yourself and keeping yourself working hard to make sure you give yourself what you need.
Well, as you can see by the chats, you know, that have been coming in, the reception that you have received is exceptional, and people are very, very glad that you were able to take some time off to be able to talk to ourselves. One of the things that we wanted to be able to do before we leave is to do a poll of the audience. So if they can put that up for the participants, that would be wonderful. And at the same time, maybe we should not have the poll because it's coming up right in front of the slide that we're trying to show. But all the materials that we have will be available on our site, and you will be able to see them, download and beginning Monday. At the same time, you know, a lot of the work that Latina Style does with entrepreneurs, I should say all the work that Latina Style does with entrepreneurs, we've been able to do it because we've had an incredible partner through the last 8 years of the business series. You know, the business series has done 135 cities across the United States with over 39,000 women participating. So Nationwide, you know, has been our partner, and Nationwide has been an incredible organization to work with. So we thank them for that, and we look forward to be able to re-engage for the rest of the business series for this year. Our next webinar will be taking place on June 10th. And, you know, we have decided to do these webinars on different tracks. One track is for entrepreneurs, such as today. Another track has to do with Hispanic organizations, because we wanted to give Hispanic organizations the opportunity to talk to our audience on how are they taking care of their organization and what they hope to accomplish when they go back, everybody goes to work. Another track that we have as well is the one that works with corporate America. You know, we're in the process of working with our very, very important program, the Latina Style 50, the top 50 corporations for Latinas to work for in the US, a program that we had since 1998. So we look forward, you know, to be able, the August issue of our magazine will be able to tell you, you know, where it's the best place to go to work. And we hope as many corporations as possible participate in our surveys. But most of all, I want to thank you both personally and on behalf of our community. The work that Rosa and Luisa, the work that you guys do, especially looking at it from the point of view for where we come from the Latina point of view, you really truly represent what we're trying to convey to our young people, what we're trying to convey to the audience and the market in general, is how accomplished and professional and incredibly hardworking Latinas are, and how dependable are. And if this doesn't work, then I'll make this other thing work, like Rosa has said. So thank you so much to both of you. Any resources that you know that want to, you know, to be shared, you'll be able to download them from our site the next Monday. And finally, you know, this webinar and this participation, we will have a full story in the magazine and online that you will be able to read. And if you still have questions that we were not able to get to that you would like to answered, please send them to us. And we will be glad to get, you know, some response for you. To all the participants, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day. I know that they're difficult times that we're facing, but it is really important that you realize that you're not alone. We're all together in this, and we're all going to make it to the other side of this horrible tunnel that we find ourselves in together. And please don't forget that there are a number of resources that are available to you. The Small Business Administration, the MBDA, the Minority Business Development Agency, the U.S. Hispanic Chambers, and all the chambers across the country are providing seminars on how to be able to survive and actually succeed and flourish during these times. So to all of them, please make sure that you follow them. And there is so many organizations. You can also look for them at our on our website. And especially, I would like to thank our partners from Prospanica and High Tech and the Chamber and Unidos, and well, you know, all of the Hispanic organizations that work so hard to make this happen. And that is all from us for this time. Thank you very, very, very much. Please make sure that you fill that poll, and it will help us for the next time around. So, de todos nosotros a todos ustedes, con mucha humildad, muchas gracias a todos. Cuídense mucho, stay safe, stay distant, but not separated. A phone call away is still a really good way to communicate with people. Muchas gracias a todos.
Gracias.
Gracias, Rosa, y gracias.
Hasta luego, muchas gracias.
Gracias.